Welcome to our channel Learn and Apply. I am Abrar Hussain.
In today's tutorial,
We will discuss how to develop project proposals in response to a request for proposal or ToRs.
we will explore the essential steps in crafting a compelling project proposal tailored to request for proposal or term of references.
Stay with me till the end. You will learn valuable insights and practical knowledge to develop proposal, work plans and budgets in response to request for proposal or ToRs.
A list of key content that we will cover in this video. First, we will start with introduction and understanding RFPs and ToR. Then we will discuss how to conduct situation analysis. Then the key steps which we need to ensure while developing a project proposal. We will also explore some examples of proposal in different sectors. And then at the end, we will do a practice session on a review of ToRs or RFPs and developing a proposal, work plan and budgets following all steps in response to an RFP or ToRs. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe the channel. Already uploaded a numerous video tutorial in this series, like this one which was focused on monitoring, evaluation and research. The next one was only focused on monitoring and detail. This one was focused on evaluation, and in this one we discussed result-based management. If you haven't watched these videos, links are given in the description. In this dynamic world of development and humanitarian work, crafting a compelling project proposal is crucial for securing funding and delivering impactful outcomes. Whether you are responding to a request for proposal or a term of reference, a well-structured proposal can make the difference between success and missed opportunities. Developing a good proposal involves several key steps. On this slide, you will see the key steps and then we will discuss each step in detail. Step number one is to understand the request for proposal and ToRs. Then the next step is to conduct situation analysis. Third step is to develop logic models. Then the fourth step is to develop a project proposal outline and then write the proposal. The fifth step is then to develop work plan and budgets. The sixth step is then to review and edit the proposal. And then the final step is to submit the proposal to the donor. Before we start, it's important to understand what is a request for proposal and ToRs. Requests for proposal are used to request detailed proposal from organizations or firms for specific tasks or activity or a project. This is basically a request issued by organizations to obtain proposals for services or a project. Similarly, ToRs outline the scope, objectives and requirements for a project, guiding the proposal development process. It is basically a document outlining the scope, objectives and deliverables of a project or a task. Let's discuss each step in detail. We will start from step number one. The first step in developing your project proposal is to thoroughly understand the request for proposal or ToR. This involves reviewing the documents to identify key requirements, objectives, and evaluation criteria, how our proposal will be evaluated. So we need to understand those. Understanding the request for proposal or ToR is critical. Why? Because these are the documents which outline the details of the scope, objectives, and requirement of the project. The key aspects that we need to focus on while reviewing the ToRs or the request for proposal are basically requirements. What are the specific needs and the deliverables? Then we need to understand the objectives. What are the goals of the project? What the organization intends to achieve through this project? And then what is the evaluation criteria for proposal? How will the proposal be assessed by the organization? So we need to focus on these areas while responding to a request for proposal or ToR. Now let's discuss some examples for this step. If the request for proposal RTOR specifies a community development project or any other project, so we need to focus on the needs assessment, community engagement strategies, and sustainability requirements. If the request for proposal RTOR outlines a need for a survey on health outcome, so our understanding should include the specific health indicators, geographic scope, and data collection methods required. Or if the RFP is regarding a training to be delivered, so we need to identify the number of sessions and the desired outcome. In education sector, ToR might specify objectives for improving literacy rates and increasing school enrollment, enhancing teachers' capacity. Or if it is health sector, so the RFP or ToR could outline requirements for providing health services to underserved populations and training healthcare workers or any other intervention in health facilities. Or if it is related to sector like environmental conservation sector, the ToR might include objectives for conducting environmental impact assessments and implementing conservation measures. Let's look at some requests for proposal or ToR.
So here you can see project title that is basically given in the ToR or request for proposal. Then there is issuing organization details, date, submission deadlines, project duration. For example, this one is for 12 months. This ToR or this request for proposal is for a project title improving education outcomes in rural South Asia. So it is based on educational outcome. So it is education sector in rural South Asia. So here you can see in the introduction, the organization is seeking proposal from qualified organizations or consultant to implement a project aimed at improving educational outcome in rural areas. The project will focus on enhancing teachers' effectiveness, increasing student attendance, and improving literacy rates in underserved communities. This is basically the introduction of the project that is already given in the request for proposal RTOR. Then a background would also be there, background related to the project. Then, as usually, objectives of the assignments are mentioned in the TORs. What are the key objectives of this assignment? Increase literacy rates, improve teacher effectiveness, engage communities. What is the scope of work? That is also mentioned in the TOR or request for proposal. Here you can see that the following tasks will need to be ensured: needs assessment and baseline survey, teacher training program activity is there, community engagement activity is there. Then you can see monitoring and evaluation section and sustainability planning. These are the key activities. This is the scope of this project against which you will need to develop a proposal that how I will do this activity, how I will ensure this one, and then this one and this one. So your proposal would be responding to these activities, that how my organizations or my firm will implement these activities. In the TORs, deliverables are also given, that the final deliverables, if we say that the project has been completed or the project has been implemented, so these are the deliverable. For example, for the first task, as you remember, it was needs assessment and baseline survey. Comprehensive needs assessment to identify challenges in the education. So, in response to this need assessment, the deliverable would be baseline survey report. In the TOR, usually they mention activities and then the deliverables. Similarly, for community engagement, there would be a plan outlining the strategy for community engagement and parental involvement. For monthly progress reports, regular reports on the progress of the project, these are the key deliverables. TOR or request for proposal also mention submission requirements. These are those requirements. Cover letter, technical proposal, as we discussed, and I will show you the proposal. Financial proposal, which is the budget, experience and qualification of the organizations and the firm that you will need to extract from your organization profile. And team compositions. There would be a project manager, a project officer, M&E officer.
And then in the TOR, they have given here evaluation criteria. Proposals will be evaluated based on the following criteria: technical approach, how you have designed your methodology and activities to address the issues or the challenges related to this project. Then the experience and qualification of the organization and the firms and the responsible key members. And then financial proposal, your budget, that should be cost effective. Budget has 20% share in the overall evaluation criteria. And then the sustainability and risk management, sometimes they mention this, sometimes they just ask for technical approach, experience and qualification, and financial, but they could also mention how much sustainability and risk management you have proposed in your proposal. And then there are submission instructions that interested organizations, consultants should submit their proposal. Either they say electronically, sometimes they say through post and courier. So here you would see those details, and then the terms and conditions and timeline is also mentioned. This is an example of a TOR against which we will develop our proposal. Step number 2 is to conduct a situation analysis. If the request for proposal or TOR asks for a specific project, so we need to conduct a situation analysis to understand the context and baseline conditions related to that project. This will help you tailor your proposal to the specific needs and challenges outlined in the request for proposal or TOR. You can do this with either secondary data or primary data. If you don't have much resources, so you can collect secondary data, the data which is already available in different reports and with different organizations, or you can collect primary data. Would need you to train data collectors and then deploy them in the field, collect the data, and then analyze the data to understand the specific condition and the needs related to that project. In this step 2, the key activities that you will need to ensure are contextual analysis. We will need to assess the current condition and challenges related to the project area. Then stakeholder analysis. We will need to identify and understand key stakeholder, their roles, interests, and impact on the project. And then we will need to conduct a needs assessment to determine the needs and gaps that the project aims to address. These current situations will help you tailor your strategies and activities to the specific needs of the project. And it will also be useful for the donor or the organization requesting for the proposals to understand how much you have the required knowledge related to that project and the current situation and context. As the donor or the organization who are requesting for the proposals will definitely evaluate your current understanding and the data that you have currently available for that project. Now let's discuss some examples related to step 2, situation analysis. For example, in education sector, we will need to analyze the state of education in the targeted region, including literacy rates, school infrastructure, teachers' capacity, educational resources, etc., is outlined in that request for proposal or TOR. In health sector, it could be to assess the current healthcare access and quality, including health service availability and community health needs. We will need to analyze the current health statistics, infrastructure, and previous surveys in the target region related to that project objective or project goal. Or if it is related to environmental conservation sector, so we will need to evaluate challenges such as deforestation, wildlife conservation issues. If it is related to a gender equality project, so we will need to review existing gender equality initiatives and identify gaps or challenges in the community. We will need to assess the socio-economic conditions, local resources, and previous development efforts in the area.
How to do situation analysis or need assessment, how to conduct that for different project or multi-sectoral project. I will share this document also. There are some key steps which I have outlined here in this document. For example, if we are doing a multi-sectoral project like education, health, wash, protection, so the first step is to define the scope and objectives, which are usually given in the ToRs or the request for proposal. You can download this document from the link is given in the description. For this document, you can download it. So this is basically planning first, define scope and objective, which is already given in the TOR, identify target sectors, establish key assessment questions, identify the analysis team, as you are working in a multi-sectoral project. So you would need experts from education, health, wash, and protection. And you would also need to identify the key stakeholder as community leaders, government representative, and NGOs. Then you will need to define objectives for education, health, and wash and protection. What are the key objectives? And then you will need to gather and review secondary data. Already government reports, surveys, and research studies would have some information about these different sectors, so you can do the review of secondary data. And then if you have resources, so you will need to develop tools and conduct primary data collection. You can conduct surveys, focus group, interviews, observations. For example, if your project is related to education, so you will need to gather demographic information, population size, age distribution, gender. You can also collect enrollment rates, literacy level, school infrastructure, student teacher student ratios, and other ratios. So this document is available on the link at the given in the description. You can download it. These are the key steps involved in how to conduct situation analysis. I have also made an article on this. The link of that article is also given in the description, so you can refer to that article also.
In the first step, we reviewed the TORs and then we conducted a situation analysis. Now we are going to develop logic models. Logic models like theory of change, result framework, logical framework. So what is theory of change is simply what is the problem, what are the key barriers, how this problem can be addressed, and if these problems are addressed, what will be the outcome or the impact. If you want to learn how to develop theory of change, result framework, or logical framework, so you can watch these videos.
There are comprehensive tutorial on my channel. The link of the playlist is given in the description.
Fourth step is to develop a proposal outline and write the proposal. A well-structured proposal typically includes the following sections. Number one, executive summary. Next one is project background, objectives and goals, and methodology, work plan, deliverables and timelines, budget, monitoring and evaluation activities, risk management. Let's briefly discuss each section. Executive summary basically provides a concise overview of your proposal, including objective, approach, and expected outcomes. This is usually developed at the end when you complete writing the proposal. Our next section of the proposal is project background, objectives, and goals. This section clearly defines the purpose of the project and its specific goals. So we need to align this section with the request for proposal or the TORs requirements. Request for proposal or TORs also mention the project background and the objectives and relevant goals. In the next section is methodology. This section describes the method and approaches you will use to achieve the project objectives. It includes detailed plan for data collection, analysis, and implementation, the different types of activities and the methodologies that you will be using during this project. Next section is then to develop work plan, deliverables, and timelines. In this section, we need to outline the tasks, activities, timelines, and responsible parties. We need to ensure that the work plan address all activities required by the request for proposal or TOR along with responsibilities, timelines, and targets. I will show you the templates and examples at the end. Then the next section is budget. We need to provide a detailed budget that includes all costs associated with the project. We need to ensure it aligns with the financial guidelines specified in the request for proposal RTOR, and we also need to ensure that all activities which we have mentioned in our proposal, those should be costed in our budget. The next section is monitoring and evaluation. How you will monitor and evaluate. So in this section, we need to explain how you will track progress and assess the impact of the project. This includes key indicators and evaluation methods that you need to add in the proposal. And then the next section is risk management. This is basically a matrix where we will need to identify potential risks and we will need to describe what are the strategies to mitigate those risks or challenges. For example, in education sector, we will need to include methodologies for improving educational quality, including teacher training and curriculum development, budget for educational materials and workshops. If it is health sector, so we will need to ensure methodology for health service delivery, mobile clinics and health worker training, budget for medical supplies and operational costs. Similarly, if the request for proposal is related to a health survey, so our methodology might include detailed sampling techniques, data collection tools, and analysis methods. If it's related to gender equality or any other training, so we will need to outline the training modules, facilitation methods, and participants engagement strategies. If the RFP or the TOR is related to a rural development project, so we will need to include detailed community engagement processes, infrastructure development plan, and sustainability measures. Step number 5 is to develop work plan and budget based on the proposal that we have already developed. Developing a detailed work plan and budget is crucial for a successful proposal. Work plan is basically detailed breakdown of tasks, activities, who is responsible for those tasks and activities, and what are the deadlines, what are the cutoff date, the start date and end date for those activities. We need to align with the proposal's objectives and deliverables. We need to properly mention each objectives and then the relevant activities mentioned in the proposal. And here in the work plan, I will show you the template and the example where you will need to write down all the activities, their timelines, responsible person, start date, end date, and other details that we will discuss later in this video. Budget is basically a comprehensive financial plan. Similar to the work plan, there was activity, its target, timeline, responsible person. In the budget, we will need to have those activities. What are the cost of those activities? Similarly, we will need to include direct costs like personnel costs. You will need to hire staff for the project. So all the relevant personnel costs must be added in the budget. Similarly, material costs and indirect costs like administrative expenses. So we need to justify each budget item based on the project need. All this material has been compiled in one folder and the link to that folder is given in the description. You can download all these templates. A proposal against the TOR or the request for proposal like this one. It is related to improving education outcomes in rural South Asia. I have already shown you this
example of ToR. Now we are applying with a proposal. So you will see now the proposal part. Our topic is also the same, title is the same, improving education outcomes in rural South Asia. Here you need to first start with a cover letter, your organization name, your address, city, country, date, then to which organization you are applying. So you will need to add here the details of that organization, client, organization name, address, and then a simple letter that we are pleased to submit our proposal in response to the RFP issued by this improving education outcomes in rural South Asia. So this is a simple cover letter. Then we start with our proposal. Executive summary. As I told you that these are the key sections of proposal. As you can see here, we discussed that to develop a proposal. So these are the outline: executive summary, project background, methodology, work plan, budget, monitoring, evaluation, risk management. So we will develop a proposal on this structure. So this is how you can see here: project title, project duration, total budget that you have developed. Now here the introduction. This project aims to improve educational outcomes in rural area of South Asia. So here you can see introduction, objectives, key activities, expected outcomes. Here you can see in the TOR or the request for proposal. Here is the object of the assignment, scope of work is given. So against this scope of work, which is need assessment, teacher training, community engagement, monitoring, you can see here our activity. These are the objectives we have developed: increase literacy rates among primary school students by 15% over 12 months. The project is improving education outcome in rural South Asia. Then we have this objective and this objective. The key activities: conduct a baseline survey, assess current literacy rate. This was mentioned in the TOR. Here you can see in the TOR that first you need to conduct a needs assessment, baseline survey. Then deliver teacher training program. They ask for a teacher training program in the TOR. So here you can see the teacher training program activity is mentioned, and then community meeting activity, expected outcome, include proper details for this activity, but this is just executive summary first, and then the expected outcome. Then we have project objectives and goals. So those project objectives and goals were already given in the TOR. Here you can see this is the TOR part. Increase literacy rate, achieve a 15% increase in literacy rates. Here you can see achieve a 15%. You must align your proposal with the TOR. Whatever they ask for, you need to respond to that. So here I have developed my objective one. The goal is achieve 15% increase in literacy rates. What are the activities? Implement after tutoring programs to improve literacy rate, distribute reading materials, and integrate technology assisted learning tools. This is basically the objective one goal and strategy. Then for objective two, which was improve teacher effectiveness through training programs. So here you can see the goal and the strategies. For objective 3, to engage communities, this is the goal and strategy. Now the detailed methodology part comes here. Here you will need to explain now. In this methodology part, now what I will do, I will ensure that all these key activities, implementation plan and details are given in that methodology section. So first of all, in the methodology, our first activity was needs assessment and situation analysis. So I have mentioned here that a thorough need assessment will be conducted to identify the specific challenges faced by school. This will involve surveys, interviews, focus group, project implementation. The project will be implemented in the following phases. In the phase one, we will conduct a baseline. This is detailed methodology now. In phase one, we will conduct a baseline. In phase two, we will impart teacher training. In phase three, we will engage community. In phase four, we will do monitoring and evaluation. And sustainability, how we will ensure sustainability, this is the detail. Here you can see the work plan, each activity, timeline, responsible party, and target. I will show you the Excel template where you will find lots of other details. So this is basically a simple example of work plan which you can add in the proposal. But usually we need to develop our plan in the Excel sheet. You will see that in the work plan section. This is my work plan for that activity: baseline survey, teacher training workshop, community engagement. All activities are aligned with that TOR. Midterm evaluation, ongoing monitoring, final evaluation. Then you can see here the budget. how much personnel cost is there, then training material. You will see the detail of this budget. I will show you in the budget template. Then here I have mentioned in this proposal monitoring and evaluation plan. So this is my monitoring plan. Explain that we will conduct monthly monitoring visits to assess the progress. Then the evaluation plan, we will do midterm and final evaluation. And then the feedback mechanism, because this is also part of the monitoring and evaluation, the feedback mechanism. So that part is here. And then the last part, which was the risk management. So these are the identified risk and these are the mitigation strategies. And then you can like detail work plan, detail budget breakdown, CVs of key personnel, sample training materials if you have already developed, letter of support from local authorities if you can obtain that from local authorities, so that would be great. This was basically an example of the proposal against this ToR. This is an example of a work plan. Whatever activities you have mentioned in your proposal, you will need to develop a work plan based on that. So here you can see a reference number of work plan, activity description, partners if there are different partners involved, what would be the output or deliverable of this activity, then who is responsible, then the life of project target. You can then distribute those targets by year 1, year 2. You can even add here, distribute these target by quarters, quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 quarters make 1 year. So for example, if this is basically your timeline for 2 years project, you can add here the relevant quarters. For example, quarter 1 is April to June, then July to September, then October to December, then January to March. So these are the quarters. 3 months makes 1 quarter. And year wise target you can add. And then you can also add here some more columns, like for example, what is the status now. You can make this work plan a tracking document also for tracking that whether this activity was planned in this quarter, April to June, whether in July you can see whether this activity has been completed or not. In the status, you can add completed, or if there are any issues or challenges, so you can add those issues and challenges columns also. But these additional columns are required when you start implementing your project, not at this stage. For example, there are different objectives. So my objective one is increase literacy rates. So this is my objective. Add that objective here. Add these different objectives, and then under objectives you need to add the relevant activities. For example, for objective one, our activities are: first we are going to conduct a need assessment. So you can add here 1.1 as activity need assessment. What would be the output or the deliverable of this activity? So this is simple. A need assessment report. That would be deliverable. A need assessment report is the deliverable for this activity. Who is responsible? Project manager, M&E, or whatever. So you can add that, and then the target, for example, it's only one and year one. So you can track the timelines that in this first quarter we will do this, then in next activity, then next activity. And this way you can develop your complete work plan. This is just a template. This is an example of budget. Here the personnel cost, who or the different staff member that would be involved in this project. So you can list down those details. If there are international staff, national staff, so you can add their months. This column is for, you see, unit. So that is months, 24 months. Then how many would be required? One. What is the salary amount? This is simply an Excel sheet where you just need type of activity, what is the unit number amount, and then the total amount in PKR or dollars. And here you can add then the simple summary, that total personnel cost, fringe benefit, travel, equipment, supply, contractual, construction, other direct cost, activities cost.
The next step is to submit the proposal and follow up. First, we need to develop a checklist for submission requirements. What are the requirements? What are the different documents required along with the project proposal? So we need to develop a checklist for that. Then we need to submit our proposal according to the guidelines provided in the request for proposal or ToR. It could be either a proposal and budget and work plan through email, or it could be through mail in hard copies. So we need to ensure all required documents are included and they meet the submission deadlines.
To summarize, approaching project proposal development in response to request for proposal (RTOR) involves some critical steps. Number one, to understand the request for proposal and TORs thoroughly. Identify the key requirements, note them down. The next step is then to conduct a situation analysis to understand the current existing situation in response to that specific project or activity. Then the next step is to develop some logic models and the proposal. Then we need to develop work plan and budgets related to that specific proposal or project or activities. And then a thorough submission according to the deadline and the requirements specified in the TORs or request for proposal. I hope this tutorial helps you create successful project proposal. Don't forget to like, comment, share with your family and friends, subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon for more such tutorials.
Your engagement is valuable to me. If you have any questions or need further assistance, leave a comment below. Also, feel free to leave any feedback or suggestions for topics that you would like us to cover in our future tutorials. Have a great day. See you in the next video.
If you visit our channel, so you can find lots of video and playlists on monitoring, evaluation and research, what is monitoring, how to do it, designing logical framework, result framework, theory of change. Similarly, we have playlists of Microsoft Excel learning data analysis function. So there are lots of tutorial on data analysis, how to do. There are lots of tutorial on how to do online data collection with Kobo, MS Form, Google Forms, online data collection tools, Kobo. You can improve a lot of your skills through easy ways to collect online data and analyze that. Similarly, ChatGPT and other AI tools, MS Access. If you want to learn Microsoft Access, so there is a detailed tutorial on MS Access and SPSS, and similarly other tutorials that can benefit you a lot. We also provide one-on-one session if you are interested to learn about any of these topics. Here you can see the WhatsApp number or Skype ID, email address. You can contact us. We provide one-on-one sessions also that we can discuss through WhatsApp or email.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your family and friends, and hit the notification bell.